G'day, Heath here from pickinglessons.com. Leather Britches. This is a fantastic tune. We're in the key of G. We have two parts. In each part we have two variations. So we've really got 4 sections to learn. In a moment we're going to take a look at the first part A here in this video. But if you head over to pickinglessons.com, you can grab yourself a copy of the tablature. In the member section there, we'll continue this lesson and break down the remaining sections that we have in this arrangement. Okay, so we're in the key of G. It's pretty standard positioning really. We're just using the G major scale. So as always, if you're comfortable with the scales, it's really going to help. We're playing pretty much everything out of just this first standard position. So here's our G scale. And we'll be heading all the way up to that B with that little finger at times as well. So if you do know that scale already, it's really going to help. Now, it's a very busy tune. There's a lot going on. There's a lot of picking techniques involved in the melody. So let's break down firstly what's happening in this opening section. There's a bit of cross picking, and the theme for the melody opens with this picking pattern. So we have that cross picking pattern moving across the 2 strings there, sort of featuring the arpeggio over the G chord there. We're going to feel this in cut time once you get it up to tempo, but as we learn it, we'll feel it in 4 beats to the measure. So cut time, just a reminder, is 2 beats to the measure. So something like this. But as we're counting it, as we're learning it, we're going to count it in 4 beats to the measure, just to simplify it a little bit. So our counting will be on beat 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. There's our pickup notes. Now, as we hit the first measure, this is where we find this cross-picking pattern that we're playing here. So we're moving between the 3rd and the 2nd strings and pretty much holding this G double stop position as a foundation, but we do move the fingers. So opening first beat of that first measure, okay, we have the open string up to the G, and then we grab the double stop. And that's kind of going to be our home position for that left hand. 1 and 2 and. Once we do that, the first finger will cycle on and off that 2nd fret there from the B to the open A, so we get this pattern. Maintaining that G double stop form pretty much. First finger lifts on and off as you go through. The 3rd finger is going to stay right there until we need to change a little bit further along. Let's just try that first bar. 3, 4. One more time, and. So we do try and maintain that position. The 2nd measure is similar. The final 2 notes on the 4th beat there from the E back to the G. So let's try the first 2 bars together. Bit of practice there. 3, 4, 1. We have a little repeat next, so there's the themes that keep repeating through, and we have that again. 4th bar along closes out the phrase. And we're running down the scale. So essentially, we're starting on the D, up to the E, now down the scale to the G, and resolves the first part of this phrase there. Let's try those 4 bars before we move on, because if we can do this, the second half is going to be easy. So with the pickup note, beat 4, 3, 4. Okay, practice those 4 bars up. So just, we're going to prop for a moment. Left hand, standard, so make sure the fingering is really consistent. It is in the tablature if you need it. Right hand is super consistent, following the down up of the 8th note rhythm structure. So we're alternating to the 8th notes. When we do have that quarter note at the end, that's a downstroke. The next beat on the first beat of the 5th measure will be a downstroke again. So down on the beat, up on the off beat. Second half starts out exactly the same until we hit the end of measure 6. Now, the end of measure 6, we've got this running up the scale before we turn around and come back down. So 4th beat, bar 6, A and B. Then we're going to run up and down the scale from, in the 7th measure, the C note. Yeah, so it was up and back straight away. Up to the D, now back down the G scale, all the way to the D. You can see how knowing the G scale is really going to help you. So make sure you do check that out. Pickinglessons.com, we've got lessons on that. The last measure here starts out with this D7 arpeggio. The second finger's job there is to play both of those fretted notes. So open string, 4th fret, open string, 3rd fret, because now you got your first finger to play the B. As we hit the tail end there before the repeat, that's the same as the pickup notes. Because we will go around for a second time for this section. Each part is played twice. So that D7 arpeggio, second finger, first finger down to the scale there. You can see it's quite repetitive. The theme that we have in there with that cross-picking back and forth between, kind of over the G double stop, that's really the theme of Leather Britches, yeah? In the other sections, we have variations. Part B is a variation of its own melody. So the second variation on A is an up the octave variation, so that's kind of cool. Let's just, before we finish this video, go through this section once. So you do repeat it, but we're gonna just play through it once to get a feel for it. And then, of course, go off and practice that. So from the pickup notes there on count 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. And around the second time for this part A here. It's a great tune. It's quite challenging to play this tune up to tempo. It's usually a medium sort of fast tempo region that it'll sit in. So it is quite challenging to get it up to pace. So make sure you do get to know it from memory. Practice it comfortably first. Don't try and rush it. Practice it comfortably. Make sure your left and right hands are comfortable with what they need to do and are really consistent. Okay, pickinglessons.com, you can grab this tablature, but in the member section there, we will break down the remainder of the parts in the members section there. We'll break down each section and have a look at what's going on, what techniques we need to use, and have a bit of a practice through together. So pickinglessons.com, I'll see you there.